The Young Church, missionary disciples who love and serve others. In this episode, we highlight the next generation of Catholics who are living the gospel message. Plus, a family of young Catholics are sharing their talents with the entire faith community, on the air and online. And Eucharistic Revival. Bishop Kulik invites all of us to return to the source and summit of our faith. The Accent on Air starts right now. Welcome to the Accent on Air. I'm Jennifer Mealy. This episode is called The Young Church, and it's filled with stories about youth and young adults who are filled with the Holy Spirit. Recently, Bishop Kulik gathered more than 100 of those young adults for a listening session to get their feedback on how best to connect younger people to the faith. Many gave their opinions on evangelization, including the need to bring more immersive experiences and more witness testimony to the next generation. Their input will help the Diocese craft a 3-year plan for Eucharistic Revival.
I think as we look at the Eucharistic Revival, one of the main groups of people that we are going to be focusing on are our young people, our youth. Many times you hear the phrase, the youth are the future of the church. Well, I heard a phrase not too long ago where someone said in their formation of working with youth, the phrase is, the youth is the church. They're present in the church right now, along with all of the different age groups of people. When I was young, and I think back on my formation as a youth, we had wonderful opportunities within the church and within our parishes. Our family sort of led us to the doors of the church and sometimes gave us a gentle nudge into the church. And there, once you were into the church, you found activities, whether that was ministries in serving or being a lector, an extraordinary minister of Holy Communion, whether it was getting involved in social activity. And people of all the different ages were there to welcome you. I think there's a fundamental difference today that sometimes our youth are not sort of escorted to the doors of our parishes and are not simply immersed into parish life. The bishops of the United States have had a great deal of unity in recognizing and trying to implement the need to have Eucharistic revitalization or a Eucharistic revival here in the United States. Part of that has come not only as a post-COVID experience of the church, but also a lot of the statistics that seem to indicate that fewer and fewer people believe as Catholics in the real presence of the Eucharist. And so the bishops see that one of their primary roles as shepherds of the local church and as teachers of the faith is to emphasize the importance of the Eucharist as it is, the source and summit of our life.
The USCCB plan calls for a year of response from diocesan staff, bishops, and priests. Phase 2 begins in 2023 with strengthened devotion at a parish level. Phase 3 begins in 2024 with a National Eucharistic Congress in Indianapolis, Indiana, where more than 80,000 Catholics of all ages will gather to reconsecrate their hearts to the source and summit of our faith. And Phase 4 begins during Pentecost of 2025. Having enkindled a missionary fire in the hearts of the American faithful, the Holy Spirit will send us out on mission to share the gift of our Eucharistic Lord.
I'm Mary Siemens. Young, faith-filled missionaries are already going out on mission in the Diocese of Greensburg. The families served by volunteers of the Kentucky Youth Project are eternally grateful for the time and energy these young people put into improving their homes in Appalachia. But the 19 teenagers and 5 adults are even more grateful for the opportunity to serve.
I wanted to come on the Kentucky Youth Project trip because I thought it would be a great way to bond with my youth group. I also thought it would be really good to help the people because I love doing service for people.
I went on a similar trip the summer before my freshman year and I loved it. How I express my faith is through service. That's my favorite way to show my faith. What we've done so far, we built a deck for a woman and we repainted a swing. And then we are building another deck, but we have a handicap ramp we're building as well.
Something that was surprising to me was how quickly everyone bonded in our house. And at the work sites, it carries through too. We all help each other out and we're not afraid to ask each other for help and everything.
The teens were also able to have some fun and build relationships with each other. They were given free passes to go ziplining and underground kayaking, and they also spent time in prayer, including a rosary walk through a national park, praise and worship nights, and mass and dinner with an Appalachian priest.
I would definitely go on another trip like this because it's just so amazing to meet new people and make new connections with people you've never talked to before. I think these projects are really going to help people. I wasn't expecting to doing this, but I love working with the people and just helping them build something that will impact them.
I'm Jordan Waiko at St. Thomas More University Parish in Indiana, where a religious vocation has sprouted from the seeds of campus ministry. Coming up, a young woman's story about discernment and decisions.
I'm Cliff Gorski. A Freeport parishioner shares her gifts with a young church, but wait until you hear what else she shared to help a family friend.
Plus, many parishioners in the Diocese of Greensburg are descendants of immigrants from around the world. Learning about that history is like digging for treasure. That story is coming up on The Accent on Air.
Even right now, I'm a senior graduating in college, out of St. Vincent. I want to do my 4 years here again. That's how much I love this place.
I've had so many experiences and I've met so many wonderful people here, and I'm just so thankful that they've helped me grow into who I am now.
St. Vincent's just a place where if you're here, you're just magnetized toward positivity and openness and kindness to people. It's just what happens, and that's why, that's what a home is. So that's why St. Vincent's my home.
Ford Business Machines technicians are never satisfied with anything less than perfection.
Which is better, 1 or 2?
They take the time to fully understand the scope of the issue and make it crystal clear that you will be able to view your documents at a level that you should expect.
Now, which is better?
That's the one right there.
Don't settle for less when it comes to your company's image. Call today for a well-defined analysis of your current picture.
Welcome back to The Accent on Air. The Office of Priestly Vocations invited young men to evenings of faith, food, fellowship, and frisbee. It was a new initiative called Ultimate Thursdays. Among the attendees were seminarians who shared stories about their own faith journeys, including Andrew Hamilton, who continues his path to the priesthood after being ordained a deacon by Bishop Kulik in May. Bishop Kulik also ordained Father Christopher Pujol to the priesthood in June. He serves as parochial vicar at Blessed Sacrament Cathedral Parish in Greensburg. Father Andrew Corriente, a Capuchin Franciscan, was also ordained this summer. He is serving our diocese as a parochial vicar at St. Bernard of Clairvaux and St. Thomas More University Parish, both in Indiana. And Father Thomas Scamai, a diocesan native from Rural Valley, was ordained to the Pittsburgh Oratory of St. Philip Neri.
I'm Jordan Waiko at St. Thomas More University Parish near the IUP campus in Indiana. Here's a story about a young IUP graduate who began discerning her vocational call with the help of this faith community.
I went to church a lot growing up. My mom forced me and my older brother to go, no matter what, even if I pretended that I was sick or tried to sleep longer. But yeah, St. Thomas More University Parish is probably the biggest reason that I've grown so much in my faith over these last 6 years. I was involved in the Catholic Student Association, which recently has been run by the Capuchin Franciscans. Just the joy that they have in serving us, that's something that I want to show to other people as well. And so the ways that they've done ministry through the church has really helped me just to grow in my faith and to love the people that I'm serving as well. There was a particular moment that I felt called to religious life, but it was not on my mind a whole lot in college. I was dating someone for a while and I just assumed this is the person I'm probably gonna marry. And I think over time, the Lord kept planting little seeds in my head. So I realized, you know what? God speaks to me a lot through other people and I need to be attentive to that. It was through the help of a priest who asked me to read one day at Mass, and it was on a Saturday when we were honoring Mary. At the end of Mass, I went back into the sacristy with him and he just looked at me and he said, "What's your deal with Mary?" When you got up to read for Mass, I could tell that she was wanting me to tell you that you need to be closer to her. 3 days before this priest said this to me, I was like, I'm gonna pray the rosary these next 3 days. And on the third day, I said to myself, I really need to do this more. I don't know why I'm not closer to you. And then I went to Mass and that happened. And so I just like broke down crying. I'm gonna cry now thinking about it. So like from that moment, I knew she was calling me to be her daughter, and I just never acknowledged her as my mother. So it was a life-changing day, and I haven't not prayed the rosary since then. Yeah. So I went to a vocations fair. I started talking to a sister, and I told her how overwhelmed I was. And she said, you know what, if the Lord is calling you to this, He is going to take the responsibility to show the community to you. So in that moment, she prayed for me that He would just take control for me and show me the community if He really wanted me to be a sister. And when I looked up, I turned my head and I saw the community that I'm now discerning with. It's called the Society of Our Lady of the Most Holy Trinity, and we usually just call it SOLT, S-O-L-T. So I just walked right over to that booth and I talked to the vocations director, and once I left, I just said to myself, I don't want to talk to anyone else. And I just had a lot of peace that that was the one. So that was the quickest prayer that God's ever answered for me.
Seminarians throughout the Diocese of Greensburg spend their summers on assignment. One of them is serving more than 5,000 miles from his home in Brazil. Why he says he's never felt closer to God coming up.
I'm Cliff Gorski. Social media connects young people around the world. It also made a life-saving connection for a transplant patient and this local parishioner.
I'm John Zoka. A big family has a big impact on the reach of the gospel message on air and online. The Accent on Air will be right back.
Valero Service is currently hiring talented individuals interested in putting their skills to use in the customization and fabrication of state-of-the-art vehicles. Opportunities include welding, carpentry, mechanical service, electronic technologies, collision repair, painting, parts, and inspections. Valero Service is an in-demand customization service center for many companies across the country in need of specialty vehicles. Call Valero Service at 724-468-1010 and put your skills to work today.
My great-great-grandparents started Rizzo's 84 years ago, and we're still here today. Same business, same family, same location. We have our lines of sauce and pasta in the stores. We have a banquet facility. We have a line of chocolates. The business really has expanded, but consistent is the tradition and the quality. We're about tradition here at Rizzo's, and we invite you to come start a tradition yourself.
Kristen Hughes-Marhefka shares her gifts as a volunteer youth minister at her parish, St. Mary's in Freeport. But it was last fall that a social post led her to share a life-saving gift.
I was scrolling Facebook and I saw a post that a friend was in need of a kidney transplant. And I kind of just glazed over it. But then about a year later, I saw it again. So I thought, well, maybe if I see them or talk to them, I'll ask them about their testing or ask them if they have any other candidates, and they didn't. When I saw her husband at the beach, he did say that other family and friends had been tested or were not candidates at this time. I immediately thought, well, maybe it's me.
You know, it was just a prayer every day and really belief that something would come through, and I couldn't believe it. I really couldn't believe it when Chrissy stepped up. I mean, I've known Chrissy for a long, long time. She's related through family, and I was just overwhelmed really with gratitude that she would even consider.
They called me to let me know that everything was a match, and they did tell me that I could call her and that they would then confirm with her medical team as well. So yes, I called her the day before her birthday to say, game on, we're a match. Surgery was scheduled for November, and we did have to go through preoperative testing, and that included an additional blood test and a COVID test. They waited to do that test until 3 days pre-op. And of course, we were all set, ready to go. Houses were cleaned, and I sanitized my house with bleach. I only had sinus irritation, but I was COVID positive. without being sick. I got to do my Christmas shopping online and I was able to complete everything that I needed so that we could reschedule, and it was rescheduled for December 10th. So all in all, I did my Christmas shopping, I wrapped my presents, I baked my cookies, mixed my cookie dough, and the final gift that I gave away was a kidney. I had great examples of faith my entire life. I would tell you that my recipient and I both went to the same church when I was very young, and her father and my grandfather set the best examples. They were great friends, great volunteers, and if I can grow up to be half of that, I'll be a success.
Kristen Marhefka is on the board of Catholic Charities of the Diocese of Greensburg, and recently Catholic Charities appointed a new director of pro-life advocacy. Her name is Carolyn Canizero. Bishop Kulik also appointed Mr. Paul Pulio as Managing Director of Development for the diocese, along with Mrs. Holly DeCesar as Director of the Catholic Foundation. Bishop Kulik also appointed Dr. Nancy Rotler as Superintendent of Catholic Schools.
All of this working together is part of Bishop Kulik's plan to address numerous realities where people are in need of the services of the diocese in a way that we can balance them as best we can and also be robust in our support.
The COVID-19 pandemic changed the way we share the Word of God. For thousands of people in Western Pennsylvania, WAOB Radio and its young technicians help them stay connected.
I've always been in the Greensburg Diocese my entire life. I'm the oldest of 11 kids, and growing up, faith was always a major part of our lives. We went to Mass every Sunday. We took as much time as we could to pray, take part in our church activities. We had a great church community growing up that was always awesome. It's really helped me come to where I am today, and even to where I am today in this job.
So my brother actually heard about We Are One Body, and he was trying to get his foot in the door. And when he went for an interview, since they were just starting, they said, well, you know, they pray about everybody they hire. And they said, we really envision brothers working together. And they said, I know your brother just graduated high school. Would you want to bring him in for an interview? And at that point, I was just praying about what I wanted to do. I just came back from a weekend retreat for discerning where I was going to go with my life. And then I went in for an interview, and I've been there 11 years now.
Working with Joey's been great. Most people, I would think it'd be a dream to work with your brother or sister or close friend, and so it's great to be able to have him here as part of this journey.
My brother and I used to talk about working together, and we always saw how cool that would be. Never did we think that we'd be working together with our faith that we both love, and it's just, I'm extremely blessed. I do know that.
Our radio station really tries to bring the church to its listener. It really tries to let that be a part of their lives, because a lot of people, they don't even know the fullness of what the church has to offer. They don't know a lot of things that are out there.
All the teachings are done by priests and bishops, so you're getting the true teaching of the church. There's hope for other stations in the future, for younger adult stations, things like that. They'll be more appealing that way.
We really offer a variety of things. A lot of them are on the topics of the day. A lot of them, like I said, the life of the church. It depends on the church's season. It depends on the feast day, whether it's a great saint who's a great model for people that day. And so there's all different kinds of things you can find here on the radio. If you'd like to find us and listen to us, of course, locally, you can listen at 106.7 FM. You can listen to our AM stations. We also stream online at waob.org.
A seminarian from Brazil says he's never felt closer to God while here in the United States. I'm Robin Mall with his inspiring faith journey coming up.
A father of 11 died in the Spanish flu pandemic 100 years ago. We trace his Catholic lineage 5 generations later as they emerge from the COVID-19 pandemic. Stay with us. The Accent on Air will be right back.
Hello, my name is Ashley Frederick. I'm the 3rd generation family member of Unity Printing located in Latrobe, Pennsylvania. At Unity Printing, we produce digital and offset printing, screen printing, embroidery, signage, trophies, awards, plaques, glass etching, and promotional items. At Unity Printing, we produce all of our products in-house, therefore we can assure that your branding matches across all of our different product lines. In addition, we have a very high accuracy rate, the rate in which we complete jobs without any mistakes, which is always above 99%.
Welcome to the Pantalone Funeral Home. As a family-owned business and staple of the Greensburg community for over 50 years, we are here to support you and your family during your most difficult times. Regardless of your preferences or needs, we will consult with you to provide you with a service that is unique and reflects on the deceased's personal life and memory. If you are considering pre-arranging your own service, the arrangements you make will reflect your exact wishes and will help to ease the burden of your loved ones. For more information, please visit our website or call for assistance.
A seminarian from Brazil is studying for priesthood more than 5,000 miles away from his home. His inspirational story is proof that God is with him no matter where he is.
I was born in the state of São Paulo, which is southeast of Brazil, close to Rio. That's what everybody knows about Brazil, where the big Christ is. So it's only me and my brother. My brother is 2 years younger than me, my dad and my mother. I didn't want to be a priest. I just lived my life. I started working. I went to the university there, and I dated 3 girls. The last one we dated for 7 years. And at some moment I proposed to her, decided that we want to get married. But when I did that, something in my heart was telling me, what about that vocation you had in your heart that you're trying to not pay attention? Is still there? I remember going to Mass with my family when I was a kid, and sitting in the first pew, because I was amazed with what was happening there. I didn't know what it was. I was like, oh, this is beautiful. I don't know what that is, but that's what I want to be. And in my mind, I started to think, well, if I enter seminary and I see that's not my vocation, I can always leave and continue my life. But if I get married and then I see that's not my vocation, there's no way back. So I started praying for that, and I decided to tell her, I love you so much that I don't think that I'm the man who's going to make you happy the way you deserve. I have to give God a chance. I'll say yes to him only once, and I'll see where that's going to take me. So I entered seminary when I was 29. I did my first 4 years in Brazil, and my bishop told me, we have this scholarship in the United States. I think it's going to be good for you. We want you to go there. The original plan for me here was to come to the US, finish theology, and go back to Brazil to be a priest there. That's why the plan. But when I got here and I saw the situation of the church, vocation-wise, it struck me. And I started to pray, well, these people need help. For me, vocation is all about being with the people, staying with them, knowing about them, shepherding them. But if you have 6 parishes, 5, 4, you cannot be with your people 100% of the time, because you have to move from one church to the other, and then you don't have that time with your flock. The first person that I told about that was my bishop in Brazil. I told him the situation that's happening here, how the church is here, and then he told me, keep praying about it. When you get closer to the end, we will talk about it again. I talked to him again and I said, yeah, I think God brought me here, made me see all this. There's a reason why I feel so comfortable, so at home here. I think that these people need my help. I can do my little bit and try to help them. It's hard to be away from your family. It's hard to be away from your country, in a place that you don't know anybody, not even the language. When I came here, I didn't speak English at all. But I think my heart is in peace. I think that I am where God wants me to be. And again, I'm not going to save the world, but I can do my little bit to try to help.
Looking back on the church's history, many of the parishioners here in the Diocese of Greensburg are descendants of immigrants whose homelands are scattered all over the world. Uncovering that family history has been like digging for treasure. The theme of Vacation Bible School at Immaculate Conception Parish in Irwin this summer is Digging for Treasure.
Digging for treasure, digging for treasure, digging for treasure, Jesus was.
The Faith Formation staff uses parables to help students unlock the Bible's teachings.
We can look to the parables again today as instructions for us and ways to how Jesus and his teachings relate to our lives.
In the huge crowd of students are my own 2 children who recently began digging for their own treasure, uncovering family stories from more than 100 years ago, and discovering that they are 5th-generation parishioners at Immaculate Conception. The COVID-19 pandemic gave us some together time at home, which we used to research our family history. We knew that our family patriarch, Florino Scalzetti, immigrated from Italy in the early 1890s, married his wife Caroline, fathered 11 children, and owned both a coal mine and a general store in Yukon, Westmoreland County. But an internet search led us to something totally unexpected, a cemetery photo of Florino's grave that was taken at our own parish cemetery. Using that photo, my children located the gravesite, and there he was, buried in Immaculate Conception Cemetery, just outside of downtown Irwin. That's a stone's throw from our home, where he'd been laid to rest, unbeknownst to us, for more than 100 years. With the help of parish staff, we uncovered their marriage record from our parish dated December 10, 1899. They went on to have 11 children, including my grandfather Art, and according to parish records, baptized at least 3 of his siblings at IC. That makes my children 5th-generation parishioners there. With the discovery of these records, we began digging for additional treasure, hoping to find out even more about our family history. We learned that Florino had to miss the birth of his youngest child because he was infected with the Spanish flu. Caroline named the child Florino after his father, but sadly, the 2 would never meet. Florino Sr. died when his new baby was just 5 days old. Caroline was left alone to raise 11 children. She eventually remarried but died just 7 years later. Older siblings raised younger siblings and kept them close to the church during decades of hardship and struggle. Time went on and the family tree grew too large to stay close-knit, but the Catholic faith continued to be passed down through the generations, who have since lived through their own pandemic. 2 years after the onset of COVID-19, they are now able to gather again for worship. They are the young church, who now dig for treasure in the lessons of the Bible. Our job is to help them find what they seek.
Opportunities to help young adults connect to their faith are on the horizon. You can learn more about the Spirited Women's Conference, a first for the Diocese of Greensburg, coming up on Saturday, November 12, 2022. It's a day filled with praise and worship, adoration and confession opportunities, along with speakers and witness testimony. 2 young adult speakers will discuss ways parents and families can accompany young people on their journey of faith in today's culture.
The Diocese of Greensburg Men's Conference, The Well, is slated for Saturday, March 25th, 2023. Organizers plan to announce details in the coming weeks.
Thanks for watching this episode of The Accent on Air. We hope you enjoyed hearing stories about the young church. These stories are also available at theaccentonline.org.